Welcome back to Residual Earners Podcast, Season 2, Episode 3. It's still mind-boggling to me that we've been doing this for now over a year, but we have, and it's rocking, baby. Our podcast channel is exploding, and we're glad you're here with us. And today, we've got a gentleman that you're going to recognize, but we're going to talk to him and interview him because this gentleman has a company that is rocking. It is Calgary Roofing and Restoration, and we're wanting to get the inside poop on this. So welcome, Jordan Swaggerty.
Thank you guys for having me on the podcast. It is an honor to be here, honor to represent Calgary Roofing and Restoration and all the exciting things that we have going, and it'll be fun to jump on here, share a little bit about us, what we're doing right now, talk about our company a little bit, and we're happy to be here.
Well, let's just jump right into it. Tell us about Calgary Roofing and Restoration.
We're a local-based company in Calgary, Alberta. We've been doing this a while now. We try to do things differently than other people, whether it is just the quality of service we provide, the customer service we provide, or the training from a company culture standpoint, just the training we put our team members through. All the different things we try to do to make our team members happy, which we then feel like turns over to them making our customers happy and doing a better job than, the competition.
Absolutely. I think everybody would like to know this, where did this idea come from?
A man by the name of Bruce Hollingsworth, which I think has possibly been on the podcast before, but Bruce is a dear friend of mine. He's had 45 years in the industry, and obviously when he came to me and wanted to partner up and said, hey, I think there's an opportunity here, when somebody's been in the market for that long, I thought, let's talk to Bruce. Let's see what he's thinking here. Bruce has built multiple companies all across the United States. And then when he wanted to branch into Canada and wanted me to help him with that process and team up together and do it, I was happy to answer the phone and get moving.
Wow. It was exciting starting, wasn't it, back in the day?
It's been, ever since we started going, it's been fun. Whenever roofs are not something you think about wanting, but whenever you need them, you really do need them. So it's nice to provide something that people need, and then to obviously want to do it more efficiently, be in more communication with the customer, and just do a better job that leaves people very happy at the end of the process. It's a fun business to be a part of.
Okay, I'm gonna take you back in time, Jordo. Obviously now you got the team in place. This thing's rocking. You've been around a while. Take us back to the beginning when you were kind of the whole team.
Luckily, I say that Bruce had all the systems and everything that we adopted quickly. So some of that early on dirty work you got to do, we were lucky enough to have some systems in place that we were able to handle. But it's a lot of long hours. It's a lot of answering the phone call, going to the appointment, doing the estimates myself, and then starting to schedule the crews and do all that, be there for production when roofs are going on. It's a lot of work in the beginning to get any business off the ground, and especially this one, because there's just so many different areas to the business that all of them, you've got to be on point. You've got to know exactly what you're doing, and you've got to take care of business, because a roof is a homeowner's, that's probably the most expensive thing they own. It's very, very important to them. So any work you do for a homeowner's, it's a very important job that has to be done correctly.
Well, now, before you've put the team in place, were you wearing a lot of different hats?
Wearing a lot of different hats, and obviously still wearing a lot of different hats as the business grows. More needs come up, and as the owner of the company, you're always the one to step in and fill those voids until you can get the team member in place. So it's you're always wearing hats, and somebody have started to learn a lot from, and I don't know personally, but Tommy Mello of A1 Garage Doors, and just, I think they've been in business since 2011, and just hearing how he came up, and now, he's got a company that does $250 million a year in revenue, and just listening to how he used to wear all the hats and how he used to be the one that was on the, answering the phones, going to the appointments, doing everything because there was no one better to do it than him. And now seeing what he's done with that company and trying to pick those things up, to get to those same places that he got.
Yes. Well, I know one thing you're very proud of, and that is your customer service and your customer satisfaction. Talk a little bit about how you have separated yourself from the competition in that area.
It all starts with, for those of you who do not know, there's something in our business. It's Chucks and their trucks, and it's just single guy operations trying to sell you, trying to do the work themselves. There's a lot of bad eggs out there, I think is the best way to put it, in any contractor type business. So, where we try to separate ourselves in every way is customer service. And I think in any business, if you perfect the customer service side of things, you set yourself apart from everybody else. So it's whenever you call our office and you have a friendly voice who is trained, knows the questions to ask, knows the information to get, and then has a set of operating procedures from there to put everything in our system the exact same way every time, so that when it gets to a salesman, that, hey, okay, I've got these things, all of the information's in there, we know exactly what's going on here. Now let me call and set this appointment and come out and verify all of the things that need to be verified. And from there, being certified to go and inspect houses for hail, being able to inspect for wind damage, being able to inspect for any type damage that a homeowner may have. And then for us to be able to go in and have the exact same software that the insurance companies have, where we can go in and quote it the exact same way. So if it is a home that needs to file a claim, one, we have all the pictures, we have all the documentation, and we have the same system that when they get it, we're speaking their language. And so we're making this whole process so easy for the homeowner, because most times homeowners have never been through this. So it's making sure that we have all the information, that we can make everything just as seamless as possible for the homeowner. So this whole customer service thing starts with the first phone call through the first appointment. And now we've gotten through that. Now we have to make it so efficient and seamless when we're talking to insurance, if it is an insurance claim. And then it goes into production after everything's agreed on and bought by the insurance. Now it goes into production. And that's where the work actually begins, guys. And from there, having a, unbelievable production manager who's on site with the job, that's huge. Making sure every single thing is done right, the whole entire process, to the point of doing that final walk around once that job is finished with our production manager, to make sure everything is just to that homeowner's liking. There's so many things that differentiate us the entire way through, because this is not just a, hey, I need a new roof, all right, be over there tomorrow and it's done. This is a, multi-week process from the time that first phone calls in to the time we order materials, get them loaded on the roof, get the crew out there, get this job done. Most roofs are a day to 2 days, but obviously if you get a bigger project, it takes a little longer than that. So, we're a team from that first phone call all the way till that job's complete, and I think that's what separates us from, everybody else in the business.
Wow. There's more to this roofing business than I thought.
There's a lot to the business. And whenever you're a single man doing everything early on, you can see why I was working a lot of hours, and still am, but there's a lot to do.
Well, I see why you're happy that you've assembled a team now, though, as opposed to just you doing everything. Okay, you played for Coach Mack at Prestonwood, you played for Coach Murphy at Arizona State, and then obviously you played 6 years for the Cardinals. Culture has always been a big deal because of your athletic background. How are you instilling culture, and what kind of culture are you instilling with your team there at Calgary Roofing and Restoration?
I think the biggest thing at Calgary Roofing and Restoration is taking all of those lessons I learned on what makes a good team and trying to take them from the sports world into the business world. So, at Calgary Roofing and Restoration, it's figuring out how to be a team. And when I look back and say, how to be a team, what did we do through my days in high school, college, and then, professional baseball, what did we do to make a team atmosphere? Well, one, we had meetings. We made sure everybody was on the same page. Okay, that's very important in business I'm not going to bore people with an hour-long meeting every day, but we're going to have our Monday meetings, first thing Monday morning. We're going to have a meeting with our sales team, and then we're going to have a meeting with our production team. Everybody's going to be on the same page with exactly what we have going that week. The other thing we used to do, so now everybody's on the same page, but we need to build a bond between team members. How do we build a bond between team members? Because if people are close and people are friends, they'll do anything for one another. So how do we build that bond? We build that bond by doing stuff outside the office. We do team building. We'll go to Top Golf. We'll go do things together as a team to build these relationships, because if we can build these relationships, then we make sure every single person is trained and very, very well trained, ongoing training. And then, we can make sure everybody's on the same page. You build a team that you can't lose with.
Okay, you just brought up training. Give us just a little insight into, as you're bringing all these people on now, as your company's growing, how do you go about training them, Jordan?
So I think a lot of people listening to this podcast would agree. Most times in business, you bring someone in, you train them for 2 weeks, and then you say, you're good for life, go get them. That is not the way to build a winning team, to build a winning company. The most important thing you can do is have ongoing training. And, for us, we work one-on-one with so many homeowners. So it's how to address a homeowner, how to talk to a homeowner, how if you're talking to the wife and you got to make a phone call to the husband, how to have that phone call and let them know, hey, I'm here with your lovely wife. She's been so great to us. And then, how to start that phone call with that husband if you have to make that phone call. There's so many different steps, and knowing how to just document all of those steps and make sure everything is the same and always the same. Training is such a big key, and there's so many different things you need to train on, and it's making sure that training is ongoing always to have the most trained and skilled team in the business.
Wow. I guess it is a lot of training going on right now.
Well, you got to think there's sales staff that needs trained. There's front office that needs training. But very important, too, is we have a production side of things that is doing multiple different materials of roof, whether it's asphalt, metal roofing, whatever it may be, copper roofing. We got this team that's doing all these different projects. They also have to be trained. And we do monthly training with those guys as well, just to make sure they're always up to date on all the newest materials, all the newest processes, to make sure that roof, when we're putting it on for a customer, is, the best product on the market.
Okay, it is Calgary Roofing and Restoration. Talk about the and restoration part of the business.
Definitely. There was a massive hailstorm August 5th in the northwest and northeast parts of Calgary. So, what we're able to provide the customer is, one, we roof homes, and we are the best there is at roofing homes. But two, we have teams for eaves troughs, teams for siding. We can basically take any of those issues that were experienced in that August 5th hailstorm, and we're able to do the full project for you. We do not do windows, we do not do garage doors, but we manage that process as well. We outsource that to very professional companies that we trust. We work with them hand in hand, multiple times a week on projects. So we're able to take that entire project for a homeowner, get it done, know the exact steps that need to be done. We have these companies we work with for windows and garage doors that piece perfectly into, our team. They have the same morals, the same values, the same customer service we do, and really take that project from start to finish. Because when you're talking 5-6 trades to get a job done, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of materials that need to be ordered. Things have to show up at a certain time. Crews have to be ready to get them done. Luckily, we have our own crews, to really make that a seamless, efficient process for the customer.
Wow. So it's more than just Calgary Roofing. The restoration part entails a lot of different aspects, huh?
It's a lot of different aspects. Obviously, if we had our ideal world, it would just be roofs. most roofs get in there in a day, get them done. All the other pieces, have to fit together in this perfect puzzle. But luckily, we've been doing it. We know how to schedule everything and get it done in a timely fashion.
Okay, in any business, there is competition, Jordan. What separates Calgary Roofing and Restoration from the competition?
Doing what we're going to say it, or doing what we say we're going to do exactly when we're going to do it. One thing that's so important to me is timelines. And, this recent hailstorm, you start to hear from customers just all the issues they're experiencing. One is timelines. Two is people, wanting to take deposits and run with them. There's a bunch of issues out there that are brought to light whenever there's a big storm and a lot of work to get done. So, one thing that separates us is, when we go through that whole process with you, when we sit there and pick colors with you and then say, hey, material is going to be loaded on this date. Our crews will be here on this date to get moving. We're not going to load your roof for 2 months and wait for our crews. We are going to, load in 2 weeks, and a crew will be there the next day to get it going. So I think that is very important. Communication with the customer, how we communicate with the customer sets us apart, as well as what we've already talked about, and that's the team culture and the training. When you have very happy team members on your team, and they are trained and know what they're doing at a higher level than anybody else in the market, those are the type things that build a team you can't lose with. And, at the end of the day, we're able to show the customer and give them an experience that they wouldn't get anywhere else.
Well, obviously, I'm going to be an expert on this, and that is everything rises and falls with leadership.
Definitely.
You're the leader, and, I've known you ever since you popped out into this world, and you have always been an amazing leader. You've always developed good culture with everything you've done, whether it's been sports or business. So I have no doubt that the culture that Calgary Roofing and Restoration has is going to be phenomenal. Obviously on our podcast, there's probably some people saying, hey, I might want to get in that roofing business. Give these folks some help. If somebody's watching you now and they're wanting to start in Seattle, Washington, or maybe Fort Worth, Texas, wherever it is, they're wanting to start a roofing business, give them just a few thoughts on what they need to do to get their business going.
In any home service type business, customer acquisition is very crucial. So we have, I always say I need 5 different customer acquisition streams at all times. For instance, let's talk Google. Marketing is kind of something I've taken much more of a hand in recently, because I want to learn it and be able to make the best decisions I can make. But, for instance, Google is always updating. It's always asking for new things. A new thing within the last few years is the map pack, but the way it talks to our website and what we do for SEO changes all the time. So we have to have somebody on top of that. Things are always evolving. So you don't want all your eggs in one basket. So, whether it's Facebook, whether it's mailers, Google SEO, paid per click stuff, whatever it is, I want 5 solid lead acquisition sources. That's the heartbeat of the business. And then from there, it becomes training. Training is the biggest part in a home services based business, as well as obviously the operating procedures and just making sure everybody's doing the exact same thing at all times. But guys, you got to start with knowing how you can acquire leads, knowing how you can provide them the service they need, and then take it from a customer service mindset of how do I provide them with this service, where they are very, very happy at the end. Once that roof is done, or whatever service you're looking to do, once the service is complete, were they happy with it? And also, I love getting feedback from customers on what we could have done better. If there was anything they were unhappy with, just so we can learn. And I always have an open ear to just hear how we can be better to serve the next customer even better than the one before.
You know, I always talk about, I think in today's world, anybody, all of us that's watching the podcast, that you can become an expert at any business you want to become at because you can read the books, listen to the podcast, watch the YouTube videos, go to the seminars, take the online classes. I mean, we can become an expert at it. But in this particular field, roofing, do you recommend that somebody at least go work for a roofing company for a while and get a better insight into it before you just jump out there and start your own company?
100%. Know how things work. Um, you know, the reason there's so many bad apples in the space is because it doesn't take a lot of startup capital to get going in roofing. So, and a lot of companies don't, or a lot of states, provinces don't have a license you have to get. You don't have to pass a test. You can just get in it and get moving. Um, so, go work for somebody else, figure out, the nuts and bolts of this thing. You don't have to stay for 10 years, but go for a couple years, work in sales, work in the office, figure stuff out, and then, it'll be a lot easier with a lot less mess ups on the back end.
Wow. Well, it's, I know from my perspective, it's been fun watching you, Jordan, take this company from a startup to where it is now, and from you doing everything to having the team in place and all that. It's been, for me, especially with my background in business and everything else, I've loved watching it. Give folks some closing thoughts on Calgary Roofing and Restoration.
Definitely. Guys, the biggest thing I can say is if you're in need of a roof, whatever it may be, check us out, check our website, check our social medias out. Anytime when looking for a contractor, look at our reviews. We're very, very proud of what we've accomplished. We have a gallery on our website. We have it for a reason so that you can see we've done an array of different jobs, everything you can do in the roofing space. Check us out, see what you think. Like I said, the separating factors for us is the customer service, the happy team members, the trained team members that we can then, give you the best experience possible in the field. But, we love what we do on a day-to-day basis. We love the team we've created. And, creating that awesome workplace experience, I think is the joy of what I do.
Well, yeah, I think any business, you want the people that are working for you, the team members. We never called them employees. We always called them team members. But you want them to come, and they may rather be out hunting, fishing, shopping, doing something like that. But at least when they come, they're enjoying themselves. They're not
100%.
dreading showing up.
Showing respect to everybody.
That's it. So, guys, hopefully out of this YouTube podcast that you've just watched, hopefully you get some ideas on, and obviously the stuff Jordan's talking about applies to a lot of different businesses, not just roofing, obviously, but hopefully you got something out of it, and you can take that and apply it to something you're doing. And we're excited that you're here with us. My gosh, guys, season 2, episode 3, pretty amazing, guys, that we just keep rocking along, and this thing just keeps exploding. We're happy you're here with us, guys. We will be back next week. And Jordan, thanks for sharing and dispensing all that knowledge to us.
No, thanks for having me on. Excited to be here.
Well, all right, guys. We will see y'all next week.
Awesome, man.
Love you.